Hi everyone, welcome to a 30-minute yin practice for the low back. So if you're at home watching this and you have props, feel free to use them. If you don't have props and you need support, you can use rolled up blankets, towels, or anything that can resemble a bolster. You can use books for blocks. There's probably only one pose where you really will need it if you don't have a lot of flexibility. So know that you always have options. This is your practice and you can take any pose that serves you at any time. So we are going to start in child's pose if that feels okay for you in your body. So the knees can be together and sitting back on the heels or on a block or anything between the legs if you need support. Reaching the arms forward and allowing the forehead to rest on the mat. And just beginning to settle into your practice. So as you settle in, maybe noticing the inhales and the exhales, you can feel free to close your eyes or softly gaze at your mat. Can you allow yourself to just arrive in your space wherever you are? Just knowing that this time that you've set aside for yourself is just for you. A time to reconnect to the body, to quiet the mind. And that anytime you want, you can pause, you can take a break. If the connection with the body becomes too much. So maybe focusing on something in the room or the sound of my voice to reorient you. If ever you need throughout class. So as you bring awareness to your body in this position, just noticing the hands planted on the mat, the forehead. You can roll out the wrists, making circles. Maybe moving in the other direction. And then just noticing the sensation with the spine, the belly against the tops of the legs, the weight of the body against the mat. Maybe bringing your attention to your inhales and then exhaling a little longer than your inhale, if that feels okay to you. And of course, always take whatever breath you need. My cues are just the guide. And as you begin to set an intention for your practice, I invite you to explore as you breathe in, perhaps a mantra of I am safe. And then again on the exhale, I am safe. And on your next inhale, maybe trying on I am not alone. And as you exhale, again, I am not alone. And as you focus on your breath and find a mantra that serves you, exploring a moment of gratitude for yourself, for your body in this space, even if that's something small. Maybe the fact that you could even show up, or that your body moves in any way. Setting aside all judgment, letting it pass by as it comes through.
And reminding yourself that wherever you are is exactly where you need to be in this moment. And moving the hands to the right, walking the hands to the right side of the mat, and then extending the head against the mat. If it's too much with the knees together, you can have the big toes touch, come into extended child's pose, so sitting back on the heels, and then walking the hands to the right. So find what works for you. Again, bringing your attention to the breath, allowing it to ground you. And walking the arms back to center, pausing for a moment. An extended child's pose or regular child's pose. And then walking the hands to the left, allowing the forehead to settle on the mat. Just noticing your inhales and your exhales. Maybe taking in something that you need on the inhale and repeating on the exhale. And then walking hands back to center. You can stay in child's pose, or you can bring the right foot out, beginning to open up the inner thighs. So the right leg would extend out to the right, and then the forehead comes to the mat. Maybe explore gently massaging the forehead on the mat to see what that feels like. Breathing into the spaces of the body where you notice tension or tightness. And then bringing the right knee back in, settling into child's pose for a moment to neutralize the spine. And then you can stay here, or you can extend the left leg out long and then just come back down, feeling the stretch down the left inner thigh, maybe through the left hip. Taking full cycles of breath here. And then coming back to child's pose, letting the spine settle, maybe bringing up a mantra or an intention for your practice. This is a gentle practice, so whatever you need in this space of stillness as we move into opening postures. And then coming on to all fours, and then into a seated position. So from here, we can rock the head from side to side to gently stretch the neck. You can have your hands wherever feels comfortable and look from side to side. And then just gently rolling the shoulders. I have tension in my wrist, so this hand is not going to do what the left hand is doing. So maybe just rolling the shoulders, listening to your body. For me, I can't bend fully at the wrist today. Just a lot of soreness. You can do cat-cow with the arms, so coming in and out. Just finding some movement of the shoulders. And then when you're ready, bringing the soles of the feet together. You can use a block if you want, or a bolster if you need more support. So the bolster would come up a little further. So from here, you're just gonna either bring the legs further or closer And then bring the forehead to the block or the bolster or whatever you have, just noticing the stretch down the inner thighs. And another option is to bring the right leg long and just come into half butterfly. So from here, you could use your blocks and just, do one side at a time if you don't feel that you can do both soles of the feet together. So just staying for a moment here. As you breathe in, notice the sensation of the breath as you bring awareness to how it impacts the body. So as you inhale, noticing where you feel it in the physical body. And as you exhale, noticing where you find release. And if you're in half butterfly, switching to the other side. So gently bringing the opposite foot to the inner thigh and then finding the stretch. Taking one more cycle of breath here. And then as slowly as you can, coming up so you're not slingshotting up. And then you can bring the soles of the feet to the mat and just release the hips, rocking the hips from side to side. And again, if you notice my right hand not being flat on the mat, that's just because of the soreness in the wrist. So whatever's comfortable, you can come on fists if you have sore wrists or just down on your palms. And then bringing the legs in front of you. So again, you can use a bolster. Our legs are going to be extended long in front of us, and we're going to just hinge forward and bring the forehead to the block. So you could have it on a high setting. You could have your bolster between your legs. Just noticing what you notice as you breathe in. And as you exhale, what does your body need in this moment? There's no right movement or degree of flexibility. The point of this practice is to become aware of our bodies and what they need from moment to moment, even if that comes up against our ego. So can you listen to the signals of your body and just notice, what do you need? Maybe that's to back off. Maybe that's to take a different pose. Taking one more cycle of breath here. And then slowly coming back up. From here, you can come into reverse tabletop. So just lifting the hips up to release the lower back. You can also just windshield wiper the knees from side to side if that feels better. If you want, you can come into reverse plank. And then we're gonna come on our bellies. You can use the bolster as a prop under your armpits, or you can just lie flat on the mat. So for those of you who have taken my classes before, here's one option with the bolster in Sphinx pose. And then without, we're just gonna bring our elbows under our shoulders, our hands are flat on the mat. And then we're gonna feel the stretch in the low back. So from here I can bring a block on any height and rest my head. For people who have a lot of flexibility, you can bring the feet up as you get more into the pose to open up the low back a little more, but really listening to your body signals and cues. Remembering that you have choices and options always in this practice. And those choices are always honored and celebrated. So allowing your body to take the space it needs, the support it needs from props or coming in and out of the posture. Just if you do so, do it mindfully and slowly to keep your body safe. As I inhale, I simply notice my inhale. As I exhale, I notice my exhale. And when you're ready, if you have a prop, removing your prop, laying flat on your belly. Your hands can come under the forehead like a pillow. And then as you look to the right, you can reach the right foot up and then just rest the head on the mat as you look to the right. So the right knee is going to come to the right armpit. Doesn't have to be very far. Allowing the body to settle. And then bringing the right foot back, turning the head to the left, bringing the left knee to the left armpit. And then coming back down, taking a moment, taking a breath. And when you're ready, in your own time, at the pace that your body feels comfortable moving in whatever way it does, for this pose, you can prop your bolster or whatever you have up with blocks. So one option is to have the one block on the higher setting and the one below it on a lower setting and just prop it up here, just depending on your flexibility. So I'm gonna demo without the blocks. I can sit on a cushion, or I can do one leg at a time. So this is a pretty deep back opener. So for the full pose, the knees are gonna be together and both knees are gonna be bent as I come and lay back for saddle pose. But for a lot of people, that's too much. So for that, you could bend one leg and have one leg out and then recline either on the bolster higher up or to the floor. So find your options. If that's one leg at a time, if that's just reclining back on the bolster, you can grab the heels. You can reach the arms overhead on the opposite sides or elbows, or just clasping your hands. But really paying attention to what your body is telling you. So if anything is pinching or feeling too much or even unsafe, as you honor that, you create safety in your body, in your mind. But this is not about getting into a particular pose. It's about finding what your body needs, what your mind needs, what you need emotionally, and giving yourself that space. So wherever you are, as you inhale, perhaps like we started, inhaling a sense of safety, or peace, or love. And then as you exhale, perhaps imagine that you can release anything that doesn't serve you, or that harms you in this moment. So as you inhale, what is it that you need, energetically or spiritually, emotionally, even physically? And as you exhale, what would you like to loosen your grip on or to let go of? No pressure, no judgment. Taking full cycles of breath. Our breath can signal to our body that we are safe, that we are well, at peace. Taking full inhales through the chest, into the belly, and complete exhales. What can the body release and let go of? And if you have one leg extended long, switching legs, carefully and gently. Whenever you come out of this pose, you're going to push through the forearms and lift with the heart so that you're not hurting your body as you come out of this deep opening pose. So if you need to come up to switch the legs, doing so mindfully, switching the legs and then coming back down. Noticing what you notice as a compassionate observer of yourself, of your body, your surroundings. pushing through the forearms again and lifting through the heart. Coming up and removing the bolster or whatever prop you might have, and then coming to lie flat on our backs. So first, just taking a moment to let the body neutralize. Often when we come out of opening poses, we feel a little stiff, maybe a little creaky, just totally normal. Scanning the body from the tips of the toes to the top of the head. Noticing what sensations that you notice. And keeping the shoulders grounded into the mat, cactusing the arms. We're going to bring the right leg over the left. So if you double wrap, that's great. If you just bring one thigh over the other, and then you can have a prop underneath you as you bring the knees to the right. So keeping the left shoulder firmly planted. So our left leg is over the right, and then we're just reaching to, the opposite way, to the left. That was a really awkward way to do it, the other way. So left leg is over the right, and the knees fall to the left. So your knees might not reach the floor. That's okay. You can also just bring the knees together and bring them to one side. But finding what your body needs. Maybe you just need to be laying on your back. And then bringing the knees back to center, unwinding the legs. Maybe rocking the knees from side to side. And then bringing the right leg over the left. The knees can go to the right. You're going to feel the stretch down the side of the hip, the left hip. And again, you don't have to cross the one leg over to the other. You can just have the knees together. And then bringing the knees back to center, extending the legs long. We're going to walk our feet over to the right and our arms to the left, coming into sort of a banana shape. So finding rotation in the spine as the feet come to the right and the arms come to the left, like a yin and yang symbol. Taking full cycles of breath here. And then walking everything back to center. And then bringing the legs to the left, extending the arms to the right. Just noticing whatever it is you notice. Maybe it's tightness in the hip. Can you back off a little if you need? It's your body and your practice, so make choices that honor it. And then as you bring the legs back to center, you can bend the knees. You can have them extended long. You can have a blanket over you if that feels good. Hand placement is up to you, so they might be facing, palms might face up or down. Ujjayi Mudra with the hands heart center. You can have one hand over your heart and the left hand resting on top of the right. Anything that feels right and grounding, or whatever you need, I invite you to explore. And you can
find what you want to do with the eyes as we come into our resting posture, so they can be closed or opened or softly gazed. And allowing the body to settle in to Shavasana. Allowing the breath to settle the body. And perhaps coming back to what intention you set or something that you need in this moment. So maybe that's a sense of compassion for yourself or gratitude. And imagine that on the inhale, you could fill yourself up with whatever that is, that love, that compassion, that sense of peace, empowerment. And I invite you to stay in Shavasana until you're ready to exit. And when you do exit, do so slowly and mindfully, bringing gentle movement back to the body. I am not my body. I am not my mind. I am a conscious observer of my body and mind through something greater. I am not my body. I am not my mind. I am a conscious observer of my body and mind through something greater. As we find the light inside of us that is free from all suffering, I bow to you in honor of this practice. Namaste. See you soon.